Hey guys, I'm back down on the allotment, so here is my May flower garden allotment tour part 2. So then at the bottom of the row next to my cornflower is where I planted out all my pansies. Now this was my pansy and viola, and I really wanted to try and get these to stretch and be nice and big and tall the way that I've been seeing people grow them, because these were my grandmother's favourite flowers and I really love them. Now they've done okay. I didn't get as good a germination on them as I wanted to. I'm really glad that I came back. I originally only planted the viola and then I came back and planted some pansy, and I'm really glad I did because the pansies seem to be doing a lot better than the viola. Having said that, the viola I think are prettier than the pansy, although the flowers are substantially smaller. Now they're giving me flowers now. I have taken a few cuts and the first ones were tiny and they are getting longer, so I'm not giving up on them yet. I'm not a complete failure. They've looked really nice in my bud vases. I like when I have the big displays and then just little ones down at the bottom. I have really liked them. They just haven't quite done what I wanted. Now, having said that, I might be saying this prematurely. This whole back row is still to flower. I haven't had anything from them and they are starting to leaf out more now. So this might be one that just needs a bit longer to get where I want them to be. Hello, butterfly. Next down here I have my anemone and my ranunculus, and this is a bit of a mixed one, and again I might be calling it too early, but my anemone this year have really underwhelmed me. They came, and like last year they were really short and I was cutting them and I have started to get better stem length on them, but I found that this year the vase life has been pretty terrible, and they haven't given me as many as they gave me last year. Now these are new corms that I used. I did try planting up some old corms, but I can't really tell the difference of which one's which, to be honest. They've all kind of come up the same. There are still lots coming though, so I might... That one looks like it's going to be on a thicker stem as well. So I might be calling these too soon, but it's got to the point of... Anemone are good because they come up so early in the season, and honestly I'm finding that they're not my favourite and they don't have a great vase life. If it wasn't for the fact they come up when they do, I wouldn't have them in the garden. And now, having said that, my ranunculus, which are just behind them here, now I've cut most of these back yesterday. These are really pretty, and the red ones came up really quickly. Weirdly, the red anemone came up as well. I don't know if it's just a red flower thing. They all come up really quickly, but the red ones came up quite early. I'm getting the beautiful purple ones now that I really like. I find that the white ones don't have as good a vase life as the rest. If you guys have found that as well, let me know. But yeah, my white ones don't seem to last very long, whereas the purple ones and these kind of orange ones, which I am still on the fence about, they have a really good vase life. And the flowers, the first flowers that I got on the orange ones were absolutely massive as well. So I really like these, and I'm thinking maybe I am just going to not plant an anemone next year and have more ranunculus, which means I have to wait a bit longer to get the flowers, but when the flowers come, they're more usable and they last longer in the vase. Friia. These guys break my heart every year. So, deja vu. They came up, they looked great. The cold hit, they died. I'm going to leave these in the ground. Obviously they're bulbs, and I'm hoping that if I just leave this pot for them, they might come back next year. But this is the second year in a row that this happened. So I think I am going to have to change how I grow these. I might try growing them in containers at home. And then, can you transplant bulbs? Is that a thing? I'll get back to you on that one, because this isn't working. And I'll cry. I love Friia. What's going on with my Friia? Come on. And then I'm into bulb land. I've got my Spanish bluebell, which I didn't actually cut, I just left because they were quite short. I'm hoping these will do better for me next year. These are one that like to be in the ground a bit longer and will get bigger every year. So although they didn't do great things this year, I liked them enough. Do you want to see one? Ish. The bottom flowers of this one have kind of died off. So, I mean, they weren't massively impressive. I guess they could be a twinkly thing. You pull them out from the bulb the way that you do with with daffodils. So you do get a longer stem. If you kind of think everything that's white and red would have been below the ground. So if you'd cut it above the ground, you'd get that much. You're getting that much extra by pulling it. So, you know, they could work. I'm just hoping that I get more of them and bigger, better quality ones next year. But they weren't a huge disappointment. They were just a bit, yeah. After that I had my hyacinth, which came up really early and were massively short, and again that's just because the weather switched. They started to flower as soon as the hot weather kicked in and the stems hadn't got long enough again. But the ones that I grow in my garden at home were much longer, so again I'm hoping that next year they'll put on a better show. My muscari, or my grape hyacinth, I've got the last ones kind of dying back here. These were great. I had so many of them, big bunches, and for the first time ever I realised they do actually smell like grapes if you have a big enough bunch of them. And they were really cute just in a vase by themselves, or in some of the smaller arrangements that I made. I really liked having those, and they only take up one tiny row in the garden, so I am happy for having them, and they can stay where they are. My daffodil this year again were great. I loved them. I kind of wish that I could have more, so that I could have more coming at the same time. You know, you see the huge big displays. I usually like more pared back and minimalist displays, but I do like big huge vases full of daffodil, and I would love to be able to make one of them. But in this size of garden and with the cost of daffodil bulbs in Japan, that's probably not going to happen. But they came and they all did really well, and I loved them a lot, and the house smelled so good. I did notice I can sometimes find that daffodil are overpowering with their scent, but actually this time the bigger daffodil, and I tried lots of the different style, the kind of newer breeds of daffodil, and the bigger ones didn't have much scent at all, which was good because it meant that I just had a few of the smaller narcissus, like the Winston Churchill. I could have 2 of those in the vase, and it was filling my house with the smell of daffodil. So I really actually liked that the bigger ones didn't have much scent, because otherwise it would have been massively overpowering. So that was good. I love my daffodil. And I actually still have a few of my bulbs to come. Right here at the front is my allium. So I've got the leaves of that coming up. I'm just waiting for the flowers to come up on those. So I should have some allium coming. And then I have a line of mystery bulbs, which are ones I dug up from my old allotment, and I didn't know what they were. So I put them all in a line, and they all seem to be a similar thing, and I still don't know what they are because they haven't flowered yet. So wait and see what they are. Yeah. And then right at the end I have sweet pea, and I actually have sweet pea, and they're looking strong and sturdy and good, and of course I'm happy about this. But as always, allotment neighbour, eh? Every year it's a different allotment, and still they're just showing off at this point. How do they get them like that? Yeah, whatever, I got some this year. But yeah, I'm just really glad that they're coming, and the ones that I did get, the flowers are beautiful, which was the whole reason I tried growing them again, is because I'd found the Nimbus variety, and I really liked the kind of mixed purpley colours in there, and they are coming up true to that colour. So yeah, maybe I'll like sweet pea again. And then my crimson clover has just gone mad. Look at this stuff. It's like massive fluffy foxtails. They're so cool. I love them. I mean, I cut this back yesterday, and there's just so much of it, I can't keep on top of it. When I cut it as well, because it's kind of drooped over, it was bendy, but I put it in a bucket in a dark place, and this morning it has all straightened up, so that's good as well. You don't have to worry too much about the bendy stems. Final row team, we're almost there. Stock. So again, this stalled went in so much smaller than I usually put it, but it is putting on height. It's looking good. No sign of flowers yet, but I'm hoping that's going to come soon. But it does look like I am going to get a decent enough height on it, even though it's so hot now. Usually once you get to it, this is based not necessarily on heat but on daylight hours. When you get to a certain amount of daylight hours, it will start to put up a flower no matter how tall the stem is. But for especially the stuff at the front, even if it started to put up a flower head now, it's good enough for me to use it. There are some shorter ones in there, but overall it's looking a lot better than I thought it would, having seen how badly it stalled. I really thought it might all die. The only thing I'm getting slightly worried about is the interplanting, and I think it's still going to be okay. I have interplanted this with my dahlia. My stock usually comes up in like March, April, and most people don't plant out their dahlia until like May, June. So I thought doing this interplanting would be great, but because our weather is weird, a lot of my dahlia have started to come up already, especially this one. I don't want to break my stock. This one here is already quite tall. not too much of an issue. This is the only one that's got tall. The others are starting to come, which tells me that hopefully this will work, that when my stalk, as I'm cutting that back, the dahlia will be coming up. The other thing is that I pinch my dahlia. So if this guy starts getting too big, I'm just going to go in and pinch off his head. That gives me more dahlia in the end because it'll put up more side shoots, which are more usable for me anyway. And it will delay that getting bigger and flowering quite as early. So I can hold this one back a little bit. But yeah, it's looking like this is going to be good as well. Just so much later than last year. So I've got a dahlia coming here, one here, and these ones are only just starting to come. Not all of them though. There's one back there. These ones are still waiting. This is my honesty. And it's huge. I didn't think it would already get this big. This is 5 plants and they've all kind of mashed themselves into one big bush. But it is really big and really healthy, and I'm super happy about this one. This one I planted because it reminds me of my grandfather, who always had it in his garden, and my sisters and my mother and my aunt still have seeds from his one that they plant every year, so we all have a little bit of it in our gardens. Obviously I couldn't get his seeds sent to me out here, but this is growing for him, so I am so happy that it's doing so well. I'm hoping it'll give me some of the little seed pods this year, but if not, it definitely will next year. I might just have to wait a bit, but based on how well it's growing, hopefully it will. Now, I planted this in October, and at the same day I planted out Echinops, is how I'm going to pronounce that one. Some people had issue with how I say anemone. If I try and pronounce the M in I'm not even going to. It just sounds like I have a terrible stutter. My accent's not going to allow for that, so they're going to be an enemy. These are going to be Echinops. They didn't do anything. You can see I've just got a weedy patch behind there. I was kind of scared to pull things out in case they were the seedlings and I was pulling out the plants by mistake. But at this point I can say they're just, you know, it was planted on the same day and there's nothing there, which does leave me with a wee strip down there, so I kind of have some room to play with if I want to plant something else in there. After that, I put in some straw flower. Now, I did transplant some of my straw flower from my old garden. They gave me out a little bit in the autumn and then they died back, and nothing has come back. I did plant some other seeds at that same time in autumn, and only one of them really has done anything. Unless, are you? Maybe two. But I did plant maybe 3. I should maybe look closer before I make comment. Hold on. No, I'm sticking with 3. So I did plant a lot more than that, and I do have some more seed still with me, so I think I'm just going to fill up this little bit with new seed today, and that's okay because that's going to give me a staggered flowering time, hopefully, because these guys go all the way to the end of the season. And then at the very end is all of my chrysanthemum. Now, these guys all bloomed around November, December and January. I did transplant them from my old garden and they weren't particularly successful this year. I got some, but not as many as I wanted. I then, when they were done flowering, I cut them all right back, and you can see that they're already putting on new height, all of them. So I haven't lost any, that's good. I'm just hoping that I'll get a better show this year, but these won't be coming until the very end of the year. It is kind of annoying that they take up the whole garden. I can't interplant them with anything else because you can see they're already getting quite big, and by summertime they're going to be up to here and blocking out this whole area. But I like them enough to give up that space in the garden for them all year, even though they're only producing at the very end. But it's the very end when nothing else is really producing for me. So this is basically all of my end of autumn flowers. And that's us. That's you all caught up with what is going on in the garden. So it's a mixed bag. I knew things were going to be a bit different because we are in a different place. It's different soil, different lighting. I knew that it was going to be slightly off from my last garden. Some things have surprised me, my stalk and my snapdragon mostly. That's kind of really knocked off the balance of what flowers I have in the garden to make arrangements with. And I found that although I'm making quite nice little bud vase arrangements and smaller vase arrangements, I've not been able to actually make any tide bouquets yet, which is a little upsetting because I want to practice doing it. So yeah. But I did make some pretty things. One thing that's been a bit different this year is that there have been small changes in the garden, but not enough for me to be making longer videos. So I've made a lot more shorts this spring, and I have done a lot of them as reels on my Instagram. So if you want to be kept up to date more with the everyday happening of what's going on, then make sure you're checking out my Instagram, which is From the Witch's Garden. There's a link to that below, and you also see pictures of what I do with all the flowers that I cut. I'm also putting some of them up in my short section of my YouTube, so make sure you're checking out that on the page as well. If you want to follow me along for the rest of the season and see how this does, please remember to hit the subscribe button below, and I will see you guys next week, hopefully, if things have changed. Bye!